thank you for joining me for yet another unboxing video. And today we're talking more RPG goodness. And this is the final video of the VHS series. That's right, Very Horror Stories. This was the Kickstarter that I backed. I did the all-in pledge and I received a plethora of materials to be used for the VHS system, which obviously is a role-playing game system. Today we're going to be talking about the spin-off and an extra bag of goodies that was included as add-ons for the campaign. Now again, if I back up here for a second, just to show you one more time. So with the Very Horror Stories, which I backed the Kickstarter, again, I picked back the second Kickstarter. That included, with the all-in package, included the very first Kickstarter that they ran, which is Very Horror Stories, which include the feature films Bloodlust, Overplague, and Unchained. That was Kickstarter number 1. Number 2 came out, which is the one that I backed, which I picked up this as well with it, which included the box set for opening night, which included Remnants, Dead Break, Trash Bang. So that's a total of 6 feature films, but that's not enough. So we picked that up. We also picked up and also unboxed on the page already as well. We did Horror Fest, which included 10 additional scenarios for Very Horror Stories. I got to move the camera up just a little bit more. So then we also picked up Short Horror Stories, which are modules or feature films that can be played in 30 minutes or less. That was another additional purchase. Then we also included the game-specific dice that they had there, the dice set, which included Calm Dice, Fear Dice, and Shock Dice, which is the horror configuration. Again, is this needed to play the game? No, you can use regular D6, but I picked this up because it was part of the all-in package as well. It was an additional add-on. So again, you had your 2 core box sets, your Horror Fest, which are your Kickstarter exclusives, and then you had your Short Horror Stories, you had your horror configuration dice. Just push that to the side. And back to what we were talking about in our video today. We have 2 separate. So we're going to start off with the VHS spin-off, which is right here. So again, we open that up and you have, again, the amount of content from this Kickstarter. I got to tell you, the exclusive content that you get for is worth every penny that you put in, because the reality is you have so much content here. And the great thing about this, again, that I love about the system is the fact that it's relatively easy to run and everything you need is here. Now, do you want to create characters? Of course you can create characters, but they provide you with so many different characters that you can play and monsters that you can choose from that you really don't need to spend the time creating your own characters. You have them here. They're all interchangeable. So anything that I showed you, which includes Horror Fest and the opening night and the Very Horror Stories box sets that I showed you and the Short Horror Stories, all the characters or monsters in there can be used in any of the existing expansions as well. Again, so we're looking at here today, we're looking at the spin-off, which is, again, the back of the book, the back of the bag said VHS, Be Very Afraid to Fly, 1986. So homage to, again, all the films of the 80s. This is the only one that didn't come in an actual tape that looked like this. Again, which was the homage to 80s VHS players. So again, VHS stands for Very Horror Stories. It's the RPG system. And of course, for more information, go to acesgames.it. Again, that's acesgames.it. They're an Italian-based company. And I gotta tell you, I love this company because they offer so much information. So in the back, you have Monsters and Killers. But look at this, it's a flip book. So you get one side is one thing, on the other side is something else. So let's start where we're talking about. VHS spin-off. So when we look at this, I'm going to move the camera down just a little bit so we can look at it here just a little bit. Again, spin-off, Aces Games, the great people brought you. So here we go. It says VHS spin-off is a piece of content we are especially proud of, an exclusive collection of horror signed by the guests of our Kickstarter campaign, thanks to whom, and of course the backers of the project, this all took shape. Quite literally, if you think that what you are now holding in your hands was supposed to be just digital content. So a massive thank you to all the guests who contributed to the dread you will experience. And that's just different people there as well. So as you go through here, again, you got your table of contents. Again, it talks about your main sets here. Again, you have your different films that are included as well, what you'll find in spin-offs. So it says 12 new main sets, 12 new feature films, 6 new monsters, Old Guard with 3 monsters, each for 4 new traits, and all the stuff that you see here. Moving on. So the content that you get here is just, it can be overwhelming when you first sit down, but again, all of it is explained to you in all the rule books, and it's really not that complex overall. But again, this is just basic information. The main set talks about the different maps that are included and the different adventures your characters are going to be going on, the different films. Again, when we talk about these feature films, that's actually the modules you're going to be playing. Again, your director is your game master, your GM. And then you have your characters and your monsters. So again, in section 1, it's the introduction. It basically shows you that. So what feature films are included here? Again, it tells you a little bit about here. The guest list, the trinkets, talks about the important things that you need to know when running this campaign about the different characters and villains. So, but in here you have what feature films? You have the Black Suit. Again, duration is 90 to 180 minutes, 2 to 4 players. It tells you where your starting point is, and you can play it solo as well. So all of the modules and all the feature films that we talk here can be played solo, which is great. So you got the Black Suit and all the background information you need there. You have film number 2, Blood Pages. Again, moving on. Film number 3, The Call of Madness. Again, all the information. Again, I'm not going to read through this because I do not want to give away any plot lines and I do not want to give away any jump scares. Film number 4, The Cold Embrace. Film number 5, The Damned of the Sticks. Then we have film number 6, The Fourth Mother. Film number 7, The Last Ritual. Film number 8, The Lesson of Silence. Film number 9, A New Friend. Film number 10, Silent Ruins. Film number 11, Texas Bookmark Massacre. And The Voice of Evil, film number 12. Again, that's all the information you need. Now the book flips over of monsters and killers. Gives you background information there, gives you your list, and talks about all the different characters that are inside this spin-off. So again, it talks about Abraham Van Brunt, the Headless Horseman. You have the Blasphemous Order of the Devil, Many Eyes. Again, it's going to break down all the different characters that you have that are included here. So the 12 different characters, and it's going to tell you how to run them and how to play them in your different games and in the contents that are included in your spin-off. So I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So again, one side you have is the spin-off. The other side are the monsters that are included in with the purchase of the VHS spin-off. So we're going to put that rulebook right over here because we're going to have some other stuff that we're going to have to go through. Yeah, so I'll put it over there. Let me just pile this stuff up here a little bit more because again, when you pick up this, and I highly recommend that you do because they are starting up another third Kickstarter coming up very shortly, which has to deal with, I believe it's the Return of the Living Dead. So that's going to be cool too. So included also in the spin-off are more characters and more maps. So let's take a look here. So again, these appear to be all the new villains that are included. Again, one thing you have to understand is that for all of your main characters that are included in all the box sets, they can be utilized in each of your different adventures. So the characters are in Bloodlust, Overplague, Unchained, Remnants, Deadbreak, Trash Bag, or Horror Fest can be utilized with the spin-offs, the spin-off films. So again, we have here, so we have a bunch of new villains or creatures. So again, all the cards are set up identically. You have the character, you have the artwork, you have the actor who's playing the character, you have the character who you're actually going to be, who's going to be the villain of your storyline, fluff information, and then on the back, of course, we have the information to run the character. So you have the fear counter, you have the wounds, the parameters, which are strength, agility, mind, and charisma, your special abilities, deadly hypnosis, then the traits that the character has, the trinkets that they're carrying, and of course the starting equipment, which is a brain digger and the frayed rope, and explains to all the things that how to use those in content and when running the actual new feature films. So you have Kurt Fisher, the doctor. You have Brian McTodd. S.M. Payne, the author. You have Nosferatu, it's a vampire. Mater Dolorosa. You have the Wolfman. You have the Creature, the Thin Man, and Sharon. So those are your new characters, your new monsters for this. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 new characters. You also receive a bunch of new maps. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 new maps, which comes out to be a total of 14 because, as you know, they are double-sided maps. Now, again, the difference between these maps, now I'm just opening them up for the first time, you're seeing they are double-sided maps. So the maps here, which are included, are not the same as you would get in your feature films. Let me explain to you what I mean by that real quick, because I happen to have one out here for you. Also, before I show you the map, there's also tokens that are included in all of your core box sets of Bloodlust, Overplague, Unchained, Remnant, Dead Break, and Trash Bag. These token sheets can be used, I'll see, with all these. So you would need to pick up one of the feature films in order to use the spin-off, or to use Horror Fest, or to use Short Horror Stories. You would need these components for that because they don't come in those extra boxes. So again, you have your tokens, which you use here, which you would place on your map, your different creatures, and you have your different characters that you're using here. Again, on the back, it gives you multiple choices that you want here, and all these are explained in the core rulebooks of what all these tokens mean, what all the icons represent. It's all explained in that. But again, on top of that, again, that was the token sheet, which was from Bloodlust. Now, again, when we look at the film Bloodlust, we were talking about the Slaughterhouse, which is one of the maps that's included in that feature film. You have a smaller version, but most importantly, I'm not going to go through that map again, but most importantly, what it had was a cheat sheet for you. It gives you information about how to run in each of the different sequences that take place during the actual films. So you had here your movement sequence, you have your using fear counterpoints, your combat turn order, you have your escape and chasing, and of course you also have the rules for your capture sequence. So it's a nice handy dandy cheat sheet for all your players. Again, if you pick up a copy of just one, you don't need to pick up all the box sets, but if you pick up one of the feature films like Bloodlust, you again would get several of these inside the box because it's on the back of each map. So it gives you a cheat sheet for each player, and so one for each player. So it's up to 5 players with one for each player, and the main rulebook would have the maps and all that stuff that you would need for your director, which is the GM for the actual role-playing game. So that's just the difference. So the maps that are included in spin-off do not have that information and do not have that. So you're going to need the original box set to play some of these games. Okay, so again, this is all add-on materials. So again, when I back this up like so. Again, you have to crack the map. When you crack the map, that allows the map to always lay flat. Now, these are not the same level of maps as Paizo or of Logue Battle Maps, which I've done many unboxings for, as you guys have seen on the channel. These are not laminated, so they are not wet dry erase. You want to make sure that you do not write on these. So the first map that's included in the spin-off, VHS spin-off, would be the Butcher's Den. So we start over here. You start off with letter A, letter B, letter C, move over to D, E, F is here somewhere. I can't seem to find it right now because there's G. Oh, there's F down there, sorry. It's the opening area here. There's F and G. And here's H, I, J. There's K, L, M, N, O, P, which also leads down to here, and Q. So this map goes from letters A to Q, and this again is the butcher's den. You flip that map over, we have another map, which is Payne Library. So we start up here, we got letters A, B, C, there's D, the outside area, and down there as well, E, F, G. All right, so D is a room, it's not this outside area. D is right there. Okay, E, F, G. Then you have H, I. Again, show you some of G again. Show you F and E again. Okay, so you get H, I. Then we have J, which is located where? Oh, J, sorry, J, there's J here. Try J. Then we have K. Then we have L, M, N, O, P, and Q, which R. So on this map here, which is the Payne Library, goes from letters A through R. So again, one side is Payne Library, and the other side is the Butcher's Den. So that's one map that's included. And we have a second map which is included. One thing I love about Very Horror Stories and the Kickstarter that way back here, and which, you know, you always look at the dollar to value as to what you get. You get so much content with this Kickstarter. I've never gotten a Kickstarter which I was so pleased with the content. Again, you spend a lot of money. This was not cheap. Again, I forget exactly how much it was, but it's not cheap. But the reality is, I got so much bang for my buck that this is literally, if you want to play this game by itself for a year, you can do that because there's so much content with all the feature films and everything else that's involved. So it's definitely bang for buck. Definitely worth the investment. So again, the next map we have is the orphanage. Orphanage again starts off with letter A. Then B, then C, then D, then E, F, G, which seems to be the outside area, and that's your center point, G, you got your H, you got your I section, J. Oh, here we got K, L, M, N, O, P, and Q is basically the main hallway throughout the entire building. P, Q, leads down to here. And you have R and S. So the orphanage is from letters A through S. And there's a complete picture of the orphanage. And then when we flip to the other side, we have another map. And included in this map, you have the amphitheater. It starts off up here. You got your A, B and C. Section D, E, F is down here, then G, which leads to H. So it's F, G, E, D to get to that section. It's F, G, H. Got I, J, K, L, M. G is pretty much the center point of the map. L, K, L. Then we're moving over to M. Where's M at? I don't see the letter M, but okay, there's N. O. P. Q. And R. And M is the outside area here. Oh, M is the center point here. I'm sorry. That's where M is. Okay, so you got J, K. You have K, L. Okay, you got M, J. Yep, J, K, L, M. Said I over there as well. And then you had over here J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, and then you have R and S is down there. So on this map here, it goes from letters A to S. Sorry about that. There's M right there, down to S. So there you go. So that is the amphitheater. So one side is the amphitheater, the other side is the orchard. Then you have another map. Again, cracking the map ensures the fact that you do not have bubbles in your map, and they come and they lay down nice and flat as you see here. So the next map that we have included here is a double-sided one again, is the Forest Bog. And we start with letter A, over to B, section C, D and E, section F, G, then H, then I, then J, K, section L, then M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, there's T, and U. So again, this is the Forest Bog, which is kind of just black and white and dark. Goes from letter A through U. And when we flip this map over, we have the cottage. Opening right here, you have letter A. There's that whole area right there. You got B. And C, you got another hallway. Which leads you to D, the pool, and E, and F, G, H, I, down to J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, and R. So it looks like that's the upstairs area or the basement area. So there you go. And that is another map, the cottage. So on this map, you have the cottage and you have the forest bog. Again, all the maps are very, except for the forest bog one, it appears to me that, again, these are all very, very well constructed maps. Great color, great. They're just really, really well done. Again, the reason that they're not wet, dry erased, they're not laminated. Now, if they were laminated, I don't believe that they would be able to, once they're cracked, you wouldn't be able to get them back into the, again, for each of the boxes, they wouldn't have been able to use those, make the cool VHS tapes, which is the whole part of the premise of throwback to the 80s, the homage back to the 80s, where we used to use VCRs prior to DVDs and prior to Blu-rays and streaming and all that stuff like that. So back to the good old days, as they like to say. Okay, so as we continue rolling on, we're going to continue to move on to our next row of maps that we have here. So we're going to have, this one is going to be the map of the castle. All right, so there we go. We've got the A, we got B, we got C. So where's C? Okay, C. There's D. Then E. Then F. Then section G. Here's G. Okay. Then H. I. J. K. L. Goes up here to M, then over to N. O is center hallway. P, Q, R, S, then T, and U. So that's the complete map there of the castle. And then we flip that over. We got another map. Obviously that's included. This one's, you're going to do it this way. You have Lakeview Woods. And of course, you have it in English and Italian. So this one's a little different. So we're going to start up this way. We've got A. You got B. You got C. You got D. So there's A, B, C, D. So E, F, then G, you have H, you have I, J is the outside area in your deck, then you have K, L, got your M, got your N, got your O, P, Q, R, S is over by the dock and boats, T, U, V, and W. Again, that's your complete map here of the Lakeview Woods. It's the only one that's actually drawn in this manner, which is really cool. It's a little change up. All right, there you go. So Lakeview Woods. And of course, on the other side, we had the map for the castle. So we have 3 more maps to go. Again, there's so much content that you receive when you back Very Horror Stories. Again, they have a new Kickstarter coming out. This is July 2025, so they have another Kickstarter that's coming out that deals with Return of the Living Dead. I believe that's the theme that it has. And again, for more information about all these products regarding VHS or Very Horror Stories, you're going to go to acesgames.com. Again, they're an Italian company. That's acesgames.it. So here we go. We got the prison this time. We got a prison. All right. Individual cells A and B, C, D. Here's E, F, then G. Here we have H, I, J, which is your center point, K, L, M, N, O, P is the yard, Q, R, S, and that's it. So here it's letters A through S, and on this side of the map we had A through S as well, which is going to be, so that's this side of the map, which is the prison. Show that, the prison. Prison. Again, letters A through S. And we flip this map over. Now the next map that we have here is going to be the circus. The circus is coming to town. So you have letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, and S. GH being the center point. And that is the circus. So again, in this map here, you have one side is the circus. You flip that over, you have the prison on the other side. And we have another map. Again, all these maps go along with the additional content, which is included in your VHS spin-off add-on. So again, here we're going to start with this map here, which is entitled Cryfield Institute. Cryfield Institute. So I'm going to start with letter A up here, then B, then C, then D, E, F, G, H, which is the hallway there, I, J, K, L, M, which is this large room here, N, which is part of that H leads to, O, which is out here. Then you got P, Q, R, S, T, and that's all you have there. So you have letters A through T. Your center point would be H right over in this direction here. Would be your center point right here. That'd be your center of your map right there. So that's one side, which is the Cryfield Institute. You flip that over. We've got another one called Berg Pass. So A would be the outskirts. You got B. You got C. You got D. You got E right there. F. G. You have H. You have I. And J. Then K. Then L. M. N. O. P. Q. R. S. T. U. V. W. X. And Y. So far we've only had one map that goes up to Z. So we have from letters A to Y. And this is your complete map of Berg Pass. And on the flip side, you had your Cryfield Institute. So that's another map. And your final map, which is part of your VHS spin-off, is right here. Again, you got to crack that map to ensure that it folds out beautifully each and every time that you use it. Again, as you could tell, the content is tremendous. There's a tremendous amount of content that's included with your very horror stories. I was gonna say subscription, but obviously not. But it is when you back the Kickstarter, you get so much content. It's amazing. Definitely worth the investment. So there you go. You got the Space Colony. Again, both in English and in Italian. Again, there's your letter A. There's the outdoor section here. Got your B. You've got your C, your D, your E, F, your G, your H. Section I is the outer circle, J is the inner circle. Here's your J. K is the walkway out here. Here's your K. L is the outside hallway again. You got your letter M, N, O, and letter P. So on this side of the map, you have letters A through P. Again, this is the Space Colony. And last but not least, you have the Asylum. The Asylum starts off up here. Letter A, B, C, D, E, F, G. There's H is a hallway that's connecting. There's H, I, J, K, L, M, N is a center point, an outdoor area. O, P, Q, R, S, then section T, U, V, W, X. There you have it. And that is the asylum. So on one side you have the asylum, and the other side you have is the space colony. So again, we're talking very horror stories. This is Spin-Off, another add-on, which included 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 maps, which is basically 14 additional, basically front and back 14 additional maps. You get your rule book, and you get your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 additional monsters included. Now, to conclude this unboxing is the final stage of materials that were given as well. Additional add-on materials. These are bonus materials. So some of these are duplicates that we've gone over before on different unboxings, so I'm not going to go over everything again. So again, you have more maps, but these are duplicate maps that we've already gone over. So you get extra one of, it looks like you get an extra map of the abandoned factory, and of this is the dig site, so you get an additional map of that. Again, this is going to be additional maps. So everything that you, it looks like everything that's in HorrorFest is in, again, extra copy of that here. Remember how it said when you read over the HorrorFest, when we did that video, it said that they were going to give you just a blank box and you could throw the stuff in it. Well, this is the stuff that's included in HorrorFest. So the Witch's Den and the Junkyard. Then, of course, we had the wreck of the Providence. And on the flip side of that, we had the playground. Over here, we have some more maps. We have that Tachibana Mansion. And on the other side, we had the old metro tunnels. Then again, this map here, which I'm not going to, again, go through them all because we already did them. You have this map here. You have the Hillwood. And on the inside of the Hillwood map, you also had the nuclear testing site. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 additional maps. Again, these are all included in the they're included in the HorrorFest VHS tape, which was another, again, the expansion that you had here. And these were the maps that were included in that, but these are just extras that they gave along just for additional content. So that's more information that you're given. And of course, you're also given the same cards again that were included in the VHS tape as well, which is Actin the Plague. You have Susan Eggers. So you have some, again, these are, again, the core reprints of the core, not the core, but these are additional. So you get 10 extra heroes and 10 extra villains. Again, I'm not going to go over the details of all the cards. They're always laid out the same way, which is artwork, the name of the actress, the name of the character, the fluff. The back is always the same way, the instability, the wounds, special abilities, the parameters, the traits, and the starting equipment. Again, as I said, it's all part of the HorrorFest, so these are just duplicates of what we showed you in that unboxing. You go back to that unboxing for more information on this information. So again, you got Susan Eggers, Simon Talbot, you had Richard Thorne, Doug Levine, Frank DeMonico, Hideo Sanada, you had Jacqueline Walters, you had Ardeth Finner, you had Amy Feldman and Alex Holland. Those are your heroes. And then you had your additional monsters or villains, Davina Van Eaton, Devon Lars, the Conduit, you had the Captain in Yellow, you had the Tachibana family, you had the Butcher, you had Tammy Boop and Little Snake, Walter Lanatus, Catherine Shooter, Jericho and Elijah, and of course Natan the Plague, which we already showed you before. So again, all this is information that was included originally in the unboxing of, again, the unboxing of HorrorFest. So again, these are just additional copies of that material. Then they also threw in 2 more little baggies of information. So these are additional characters that they threw in there as well. Just some more villains to play with. You've got Mr. Sweepy. You've got the Crimson Plague. Again, background information. On the back, you'll have the fear counter, the wounds, your parameters, your special abilities, which is deadly symbiosis. You have your traits, your trinkets, and your equipment. So that would be the Crimson Plague, Mr. Sweepy. That's also included in. These are just extras and a cool baggie to keep it in. And then the last couple ones that we have here also, a couple additional ones. You have the Headless Horseman. You have Death, the Doll Maker, the Dakharian. And if I'm not mistaken, all of these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, are the villains which are included in your short horror stories. So they were just put in a separate bag away from this because they didn't, I guess they didn't fit in the box here or whatever it would be. So that would be the short horror stories. These are the villains that go into your short horror stories. So again, these are additional add-on components, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 additional characters, which are included for your short horror stories. Then you have your additional maps, and of course you have your 10 extra characters and your 10 extra monsters or villains as well, which were included in the Horror Fest. So these are extras that were included in the bag right here. So again, those are your maps and your cards for those. These are your additional cards, which were used for your short horror stories. Put those down here. Then, of course, you have your information for your VHS spin-off, which included another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 maps? 7 maps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right, 7 additional maps. And additional characters, more villains, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 additional villains here. And that was all part of your VHS spin-off. Now, when you add all this together, I'm also going to swing in here real quick. Push that stuff to the side. Everything else that was included in this, and I'm just going to back this off a little bit because this is the concluding video of the series. We also include, so you got your spin-off. You have your extra components here, which was the extra copy of the Horror Fest. You also have your short horror stories, which are the 6 characters that were included right there. You also had, we'll put this to the side, you also had your dice pack, which was right here, which included your calm dice, your fear dice, and your shock dice, which is the horror configuration. You also had Horror Fest and your original, which includes, in the back there, we had extra copies of it, but includes 10 additional characters, 10 additional stories, and also additional maps as well. Again, said build your personal horror right there. That's your Horror Fest. So you have your Horror Fest. Then you had your original core box set that came from the original Kickstarter, which was Bloodlust, Overplague, and Unchained, which was your Very Horror Stories core box set. And then you had your second Kickstarter, which came out, which included Revenants, Dead Break, and Trash Bag, which was opening night. So all this we've done unboxing for. And this is everything that's included, and this concludes our unboxing of the entire VHS-Very Horror Stories, all in Kickstarter. And as always, thank you so much for joining me for this unboxing video. It's truly appreciated. If you enjoyed the video, you could always give us a thumbs up, leave a comment below. You could also hit that subscribe button. This way you're kept up to date as to any time we release new content to the page. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Be safe, be well, enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll catch you on the next unboxing video.